Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we look at what's going down in Manipur and why and how can it stop. Joining us on the program today, first up, is Mohammed Ahmed Rais Ahmed Tampak. He's a spokesperson for the Meitei Pangal community. It's an umbrella group of different organizations that represent the Manipuri Muslims who have actually tried their best to stay out of this conflict. In fact, when I was on the ground in Manipur, the only way you could travel from the valley to the hills was if you had someone from who's from the Muslim community as your driver, and they were not being targeted. Has something changed? We'll find out. Also joining us is a military veteran. We're joined by Dr. Major Mohammed Ali Shah. He's been a former ADC to the General Officer Commanding. Always good to see you, sir. Also joining us today is Professor Haukip. We welcome him back to the program. He's an assistant professor at JNU. And we very much hope Brigadier Ganguly, who's been a commandant at the Assam Rifles, will be able to join us as well. Major Ali, what is really worrying is that these gunmen, these men who came with guns, they were camouflaging themselves with police uniforms, right? So go ahead and tell us not just about what's happened with the Pangal community, Meitei Pangal community, but also what's happened in Moreh today. Dr. Ali.
Okay, Barkha, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me on your show. You're one of my favorites, and you know that very well. It's an honor to be here with the panel of such esteemed guests. And as you mentioned about my former commandant from the Assam Rifles, Brigadier Ganguly. I hope his internet connection comes up very soon, and I hope he does join us. Now, the very fact is, Barkha, the Army and the Assam Rifles, the security forces, are actually doing a very impartial and a very good job. I would particularly vouch for the Army and the Assam Rifles. Now, the very fact, because the vigil is so sharp, so people over there, the troublemakers, the insurgents, I would call even people who are not part of the underground factions, who have picked up arms right now today, even they are insurgents. So these insurgents have no other way to break into the security but to disguise themselves up in the security forces uniforms, police uniforms. I'm told they were using police vehicles as well, some of them, not here, but other cases. They have been roaming around, and some of them apparently have been roaming around freely. I'm surprised because they camouflage themselves, they hide themselves behind the uniforms where you are mistaken. People had even tried to get Assam Rifles vehicles. Can you beat that? But they were caught. So that is an option left for them. I will equate it with an example where a lot of terrorists from Pakistan are unable to infiltrate, so they're using narco-terrorism. They drop in weapons and drugs across. Similarly, the insurgents in Manipur, now they have adopted those methods because it's very difficult to check exactly. Not very difficult, but it is actually you assume a person. If I have to be victimized, if I see somebody walking in police uniform, I will probably presume he's a protector, not come to attack me. So that's what's happening now. Now the very fact is a communal clash, or rather I would say an ethnic clash. The word is ethnic clash, not a communal clash, but an ethnic clash is not very. It happened in past in Manipur, all right, but not of this severity. In '93, there was a very infamous Meitei Pangal clash. That's the Meitei Hindus. Even Pangals are the Meitei Muslims, so they are also they're Pangals. They was in '93 that happened. '94 there was a very infamous Nagas and Cookies clash. In '97 there was the Cookies clash. In fact, Manipur has seen a Pangal chief minister as well. In 1972 there was Mohammed Ali Muddin as the chief minister. Manipur has very gracefully accepted that. Now the very fact, you see, Moreh is a belt which is predominated by cookies. And particularly, I have a lot of Thadao speaking cookies. They would be having surnames like Hawkins, Kipgins, or Khongsais. So Moreh is particularly dominated by cookies. And it's very close to Technopal, and it's on the border of where across the border in the Moreh, there's Tamu. In that side. Yes.
Can I just interrupt you to say that I think we must separate these two incidents, right? One is an incident that has taken place in a border town where there is a foreign link being alleged by the chief minister. The other is an incident that is basically taking place within the communities, in a community that has not been targeted thus far, Major Ali. So I don't know that we can talk about these incidents together.
Of course not. You cannot talk about these two incidents together. But since you had asked initially about More, along with your
Yes.
first question, that's why I brought in More over here. Now, the very fact is, when we talk about there was an attack on the Pangal community, let me tell you, let me see how I see it as. I see it as not an attack only on Pangal community. I don't know how the Pangal community would be seeing it as. I mean, in fact, the spokesperson over here, Rais Ahmed Bhai, would be in a better position to tell. I see it as an incident where, yes, no doubt, the members who were attacked happened to be from the Pangal community, and yes, unfortunately, we lost four of them, and as Rais Bhai said, 14 have been grievously injured. So it could, and if at all there is an allegation of drugs or narcotics, I don't know the intricacies of that, because as per the UN records, Manipur gets about 70,000 crores is only on narcotics, which is much more than the GDP of Manipur, in fact. So I don't know about the drug angle of it. Even if it is for the drug angle, I do not think anybody who should have the right to take law in their hands and say, okay, you are the drugs, let me come and kill you and shoot you. No, the law
Absolutely.
has to take its own course. The law
Yeah.
decides that. So
Yeah.
similarly, now I say I really urge my brethren in Manipur not to make it so far what I had heard of the Chief of Defence Staff, General Anil Chauhan, and the DG Assam Rifles, Lieutenant Pradeep Nair, speak about that. It's an ethnic clash, it's an ethnic problem that's going on in Manipur. So I would urge people not to make it, I know it is very, very tough, easier said than done, but not to make it communal. I mean, not to make it Hindus versus Christians or Hindus versus Muslim. It is a nefarious group which has gone, I would say it's gone bonkers, right? I would use the word that way. And they have gone and attacked these
Okay.
people.
Okay. I want to bring up Arambai Tengol. The name is coming up again and again by the cookie groups, Major Ali. The Arambai Tengol was blamed. The tribal groups are blaming the Arambai Tengol both for what has happened with the Meitei Pangal attack as well as for what happened in More. But the chief minister is saying that this is a militant attack with a link across the border, possibly in Myanmar. Right? These are two completely different narratives, Major Ali. What is the Arambai Tengol? A lot of people outside of Manipur don't know. And why are we hearing its name? Also, Rais Ahmed says that while the Arambai Tengol was being blamed, the RPF now has issued a statement claiming responsibility for what happened in his community. So talk a bit about both of these groups.
Okay, Megha, that's a very, very interesting question. The very fact is, Arambai Tengol and Maiti Lipun, as far as my knowledge goes, they were social groups they are social bodies. That's what I know of. And now
Would you
the
still
very
would you
fact is,
still
you
call
are
them
right.
would you still call them that? Today,
No,
everybody in Manipur has
correct,
guns.
correct. So I am
Both
just coming to that. And
communities. Right.
their name has been cropping up again and again, especially by my cookie friends, and so there's no smoke without fire. So this is a thing which is to be actually inquired and actually proved, and it has to be proved in a very impartial manner, without taking any sides, without taking anyone. So now I would say, the very fact is, if you ask me if I would still call them social groups, well, as you say, even a thief is not a thief until proven guilty, for that matter. So it is a matter subject to inquiry in the first place. Secondly, when you talk about underground groups or factions, in my time when I was posted there with the army as the ADC or with the Assam Rifles both, so I had the good fortune of experiencing both the life. So the underground groups were primarily the one which has signed a truce right now, the UNLF, United Nations Liberation Front, the PLA, People Liberation Army, the KYKL, Kangla Yaman Kanalup, the PREPAC. There was a group dominated by the Pangals called Pulse, People's United Liberation Front. And I'm in Kakshan, where I spent a lot of time, in fact, in Thobel, where the attack took place. There's the Sorabasti, which Rais Bhai would be knowing very well about. I have spent a lot of time in Sorabasti, but it was a very small group of, I would call them rather, local bandits at that time. So I don't know what became of that group thereafter. I don't know. I don't know. It became very irrelevant, or perhaps after that. So the very fact is, Arambai Tengol and Maiti Lipun were not a banned outfit. As far as I know, till now, they have not been banned. So if they have not been banned, the law authorities, the government has to actually see and inquire why their names have been coming up again and again. Now,
Okay, here is the point, Dr. Ali. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we have a situation here where Professor Haukip says that the state forces were not accompanied by the central forces. The state forces say our men have been injured. The civilian groups, can we play those pictures again? The civilian groups release these images, the tribal civilian groups, and they say women and children are being targeted, our people are being picked up, we are being fired upon. The government says no, these are actually foreign militant linked attacks. And then we have this statement, this RPF statement. I'm just trying to pull this up, which is taking responsibility for the incident at Lilong. What has happened with the Manipuri Muslims? What has happened with areas dominated by them? Can you talk a little bit about this RPF? And in the meantime, we also have statements from the Kuki group saying that these are attacks by state forces and mighty militant groups. So the Kuki groups are accusing the mighty militant groups of acting in tandem with the state police. Kuki leaders are saying यहाँ पे central forces होने चाहिए थे, यहाँ पे state forces आए. Chief Minister is saying these are foreign linked groups. And then we have the RPF, the political wing of one of the state's most powerful armed rebel groups, the PLA, formed in 1978 to liberate, quote unquote, Manipur, which clearly is a secessionist group. So we are seeing secessionism mixed up with ethnic strife. It's a really dangerous cocktail. Dr. Ali.
Right, Megha.
Barkha, not Megha. Same family of
Barkha.
clouds to rain, so not a far not too much of a disassociation, but go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, Barkha. I'm so sorry. I mean, it just slipped my tongue because.
No problem.
So now
no problem.
Thank you. So the very fact is, whether it was a foreign hand or not, that the inquiry will tell, of course. And whatever it is, the reason is it is the responsibility of the government of the day over there to take care of its citizens, whether a foreign hand comes in or it's a local hand over there.
Right.
Now, you have to protect them. And I'm talking about the state government over there. They have to protect all the communities, all the tribes, all the people. One cannot wait for an incident to happen and then say, "Arey, हमें नहीं पता ये बाहर से आए हैं, आए कहीं से भी हों." The very fact, of course, it's a fact that, right from the very beginning, the cookies have lost faith in they've lost confidence in the state police force because of the arms loot, the famous arms loot that took place over there. In fact, very, very sad. Now, that's why they would have more faith and trust in the central forces like the army.
And the reverse is true, right? Unfortunately, mighty groups targeted the Assam Rifles. Kuki groups Kuki groups don't trust the police forces. Mighty community doesn't trust the Assam Rifles.
Why mighty groups don't trust the Assam Rifles is in my perception, because I feel that
tragically, I'm just saying it's tragic, and the army played a big role in trying to transcend these differences and work for both communities.
You're right. See, the Assam Rifles have done a very, very good job, actually, commendable job. I can vouch with conviction over there. In fact, this is the Assam Rifles tie that I'm wearing. And the Assam Rifles they had protected anyone who would be victimized without asking. Whichever caste, creed, religion, tribe, area, region you are from, they would protect them. They would give them aid. And yes, it's a fact that there were a lot of Kuki who were victimized, who the Assam Rifles had protected, not because they are cookies. No. But because they were victimized. If unfortunately anyone, it could have been a mighty also. If they would have been victimized, Assam Rifles would have gone out of the way to protect them as well.
Okay, let me give the last word to Dr. Ali. Dr. Ali, the statement that is coming from the Kuki groups, they are saying that we have been pleading with the central government since May to replace the mighty state forces with neutral central security forces. Now, what is really worrying in this whole thing is this kind of breakdown. There is a de facto breakdown between the hill areas and the tribal areas. Even for the burials, the Supreme Court had to intervene. There is a breakdown in the security grid, right? You have the tribal group saying, this is to Dr. Ali, if we can bring him up in the box now. The tribal groups are calling for a 24-hour shutdown. Then you have the casualties among civilians in Geelong. What next?
Okay, Barkha, yes, I totally understand the trust deficit of the cookie groups on the state forces and the Maite groups on the central forces, as you said, if that be the case. So the very fact is, when there's trust deficit, now I cannot come to you, Barkha, and say, Barkha, I am this, I am that, this is my credibility, please trust me. You got to trust me. You have to trust me. I can't do that. I have to win over your trust slowly and gradually by my actions. Because actions speak louder than words. So when you actually, if you lose someone's trust, it's very difficult to regain that trust back. And when a person starts trusting, so the very fact is, when that trust deficit is there,
I
the
know, but the
government.
state government, let's be real, no state government is going to accept an entire people saying we won't respond if you post the state forces here, right?
Okay, right.
Now, I
So see,
understand Professor Haukip's point that there has been a breakdown of trust, but the reality is the Biren Singh government isn't going to withdraw the state forces. I don't see that happening. So what next? Quickly, last comment.
okay, yes, they will not withdraw the state forces. Now, the very fact is, I'll give an example of the Assam Rifles, where I serve very proudly. We have Maites, we have Cookies, we have Nagas, we have we have people from every community. In fact, we have Apatami tribe from Arunachal, we have Garos, Khasis, Jaintias, we have everyone. We have Dei Burman from Tripura, we have the Chakmas, we have the Mizos, we have every single tribe, and we all coexist together and we fight together shoulder to shoulder as soldiers. We do not see from which community we are from. So now the Assam Rifles is actually a paramilitary force which comes under the Home Ministry, and operationally they are with the Spare Corps. Operationally. So I think, see, when there is a trust deficit, yes, I agree, it takes time to build up trust, but you have to honor the fact that the people have lost faith, they have lost trust. If I thrust it upon them, it will not work. I have to win over the trust. Like the way I'll quickly conclude. I know you have a lot of time. I'll just quickly conclude by saying that, when I was there, we made the locals over there feel that the army or the Assam Rifles, the forces are here to protect them, not to intimidate them. And we won over the trust by winning hearts and minds, Barkha.
Okay,